Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight at our Connect group. If it's your first time here, second time, I want to say thank you so much for coming out. You're in a safe place to be who you are, to be exactly the person that God has made you to be. You don't need to act like anything else. You don't need to pretend to be anybody else. It's okay to be just who you are. The way we do things in our Connect group is we have a few questions that we like to go over that are directly related to Sunday morning's message. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to it, I still recommend you check it out after tonight, but it's not required to have listened to the message to be able to go through these questions. The questions are worded in such a way where we can all get something from it. And this is the whole goal. If you're sitting in this room this evening around all these people, this is the goal. We want people to be able to connect in groups outside of a Sunday morning, because the way we see it is church is bigger than Sunday morning. It happens throughout the week. That's when the rest of real life happens to us. So that's when we want to be there for each other. Now, we are in the middle of a message series that we've been doing called Enough. And a couple of weeks ago, we looked at how we are enough because of what Jesus has done. And this week, my wife Amber preached on you having enough. Right? Because of what God has done, God can look to us, look in our life, look in our spirit, look in our house, as we learned on Sunday, and see what we have, and that can be enough. That we have enough in our life right now for what God needs us to do. So I'm going to put the scripture up here that we looked at, and if you guys want to, you're always more than welcome to read the scripture out loud in your group if you want. So I'll have that here, but I want to jump right into the first question, and it kind of deals directly what Amber was talking about on Sunday, and it's the concept of you having enough. You have everything that you need right now. And what I want to go off of is that is true, and if it's true, then what do you have? Because it's hardest for us to look at our own life and see, I have all of these things, but with God, we can look at our lives, and through His eyes, we can use His eyes to see what we have in us, what we have in our spirit, what we have in our heart, the skills that we have, whatever it is. If we have what we need right now, then I want us to take some time. I want you to take some time and really think about, what do you have? What do you have in your life that has been given to you by God that God can use for the purposes He has designed for you? So why don't you guys take some time to discuss that? All right, this next question has a little bit to do with one of the concepts that Amber talked about on Sunday morning was when we feel like we don't have enough, whether it be enough wisdom or enough skill, or we don't have enough things on our resume, or we don't have enough, whatever it is, whatever we don't have enough of, we feel like that all the time. And what that can do is that can bring down the confidence in us. It can bring down our confidence in God when He has called us to and designed us for purposes that He has placed before us in our life. And so what I want to do is I want to talk about a time where you allowed someone or something to influence your decision, to change the decision you were going to make because you feel like you didn't have enough, because you didn't feel confident in what you had in front of you, in what God has given you. So I want you to discuss a time when you had to change your decision, or you allowed your decision to be changed because someone else was telling you something, and it happened that way because you didn't feel like enough, and because you didn't feel like enough, you allowed your decision to change. And later on, it didn't turn out the way you wanted it to because it wasn't your decision. So let's take some time to discuss that. All right, the last question for tonight is going to be a bit of a challenge for us for this week, to take what we have learned and put it into our week, to put it into practice. Now, one of the things that Amber said on Sunday was shut the door behind you. And that came directly from the scripture that we looked at, which was in 2 Kings, the scripture we had up earlier, and I'll put it on the screen up here in a bit. But in that scripture, one of the things that the woman was told to do was to shut the door behind her. She was supposed to go into this room, and she was going to take the olive oil that she had, and she was supposed to shut the door behind her. And what Amber shared with us, what Amber taught us, is that what can we do in our life to shut the door behind us? Because if we don't shut the door behind us, if we go forward in something, or we see that we have enough because of what God did, but we don't shut the door behind us, then we leave the door open in our spirit. We leave the door open metaphorically to let other things in, let other decision making in. And we just talked about it in the previous question of letting those things in can help change our decisions in a way that we hadn't designed, change our decisions in a way that we hadn't planned for. So what I want to do is I want to know what you in your life, what do you need to shut the door behind you in? And that's what I want to look at for this week. I want to challenge you guys this week is what can you do this week to be shutting the door behind you? What areas of your life do you have? It's not a full trust in God. It's not a full faith. You don't always truly believe that you have everything that you need. So you try to do all these other things. You leave the door open behind you so other things can help you feel like enough. And what we really need to do is to shut that door behind us and know that we have enough. So my question to you for this week is, what are you going to do this week to shut the door behind you and trust God that you have enough for what He has called you to do? What are the areas in your life that you need to shut the door behind you? I want you guys to take some time to discuss that.